We have the brand new WORKPRO, and this is off of Amazon. Several of you have mentioned about it, and today we will go over it. This is the old WORKPRO that so many of you have seen as one of the best budget options really on Amazon to date. And this is the new WORKPRO, which they classify as a 24-in-1. This is almost the same price as the other one. It is $29, so maybe just a couple dollars more. But let's go ahead and talk about its features. Now, what I want to do with this review is to just do a basic overview, talk about the sheath, talk about the extra bits, talk about this, and then look at this tool in the light of about 3 different categories to see how good of a tool this is for $29. Now, first of all, let's talk about the outside. One of the things I do like about this is it comes in a sort of like a royal blue and then a darker red. There are at least 2 different color options with this. And then you do have the black accents with the pivot and the pocket clip. And then on the outside, you have these locking implements. You've got the knife and then the saw on this side, which seems pretty nice. And then the pocket clip on the back. It is more of a little bit more of a minimalist tool rather than the other WORKPRO, which is more of a copy of the Leatherman Wave. All right, so on the inside, we notice that these are not spring-loaded pliers, but they are very nice wave-style pliers with the replaceable wire cutters. No gap on the wire cutters, which is nice, and then a very nice place for the crimper there at the bottom. When we look at the pliers head-on, it looks like they meet very well. No issues there. And then no stiffness. It seems very loose. And it seems it has a nice little snap to it when it opens and closes, so no issues with the pliers themselves. Now, when we look at the inside, we have a bit driver with a double-sided bit on this side, and then let's first of all take a look at this side over here. Now, I do have to say that these tools are a little different. Now, the wire cutter and the can opener are all right. These look like a little bit shiny tools. I have to say I prefer more of a stonewash look like in one of the recent tools that I reviewed. And then it has the awl and then this file, very small file with the more of a micro screwdriver. Not a huge fan of that combination. Different people have said that if the file is done correctly, then it will be more brittle, and so it's not that useful as a screwdriver. Could easily snap, so probably not a good idea there. Then when it comes to the bottle opener, you have a very large flat screwdriver on the other side. So that is the tool set. Not an awful tool set, but not exactly a tool set I am as thrilled with as in some of the other tools. Now on this side, you have the bit driver. Now this is covered with oil on mine. It's almost a little sticky. Not a huge proponent of that. It's very, very sticky. And then the double-sided bits, but again, these are 5mm bits. That's very unfortunate, but with several of these tools, when they try to go lighter and smaller, they either do Leatherman bits or they do 5mm bits, so that is what we're stuck with. Now with this bit kit, it is a fairly nice bit kit, and it does come with these Torx bits right here, and then it does come with the double-sided flat bit, and then it does have like a micro eyeglass driver bit as well. And I think one of these Torx bits, I think it's T15 and T10, and I'll try to put on the screen what the other bit is as well. I do like the bit holder, and then the sheath is pretty nice actually. It's a little bit of a nicer sheath. It is Velcro, and then you are able to stick the bits inside, so that part is nice as well. On the pliers, you do see that almost like a fancy WP it looks like. That looks pretty nice. As I keep mentioning in these videos, you can get this Decoyo adapter, which I don't know, it's maybe $10 on their website, decoyunorthamerica.com. You can get this right here, and then it changes your 5mm bit driver into a 1/4 inch. So it's not the end of the world that it's 5mm, and with so many of these tools using 5mm, there are a lot of very cheap options for bit kits. The tools, aren't that expensive, and then they get a full bit kit. So if you get a couple of these, you will have some extra that you can use between platforms. I think the next question we need to ask about this is it tough? What about its weight, and what about its affordability? Now, obviously, we know that this comes in around $30, so it is very affordable. I don't think there's any issue with that. As far as its weight, I do want to measure it against the WORKPRO that has caught on online. Max Level EDC did a huge video on this, and a lot of you really love this tool. So I want to compare the weight, and then what about, is it tough? Well, I see 3 main issues with it. No great file with it. No 1/4 inch bit adapter, which this one doesn't have that either. And then no scissors. So I think all those are negatives. Now, it does have some positives. I don't think this tool set is just awful right here, even though the tools look a little bit shiny for me. The can opener doesn't look bad, the awl and the bottle opener, and maybe this will last for a screwdriver. Now, yesterday or a day or two ago, I did mention this tool right here. This is a BHBT. This has a very similar tool set, except it has 2 more tools on the outside. And with this one, they did not add the file and the screwdriver, which I think is so much better. And as a very similar design, but I have to say I love the design of these tools. Almost like a stonewash finish, so much better. Yes, it still has a 5mm bit driver, but with all these outside tools and this huge scissor, I really like this option better. This does have a full file, but it does not have the saw. So I guess it's up to you which tool you prefer. I prefer this one. I have a lot better options I'll be using, but if it was up to me, I would definitely pick this one. So I think this one is for someone who wants to go bare minimum, and maybe this right here is your perfect tool set. The knife and the saw and just a couple other tools. All right, let's go ahead and weigh this against the original WORKPRO, and then maybe we'll just talk a little bit about the original WORKPRO's tool set as opposed to this. All right, so with this one, we have 9.7 ounces. That is about an ounce more than the Leatherman Wave. And then with this one, it comes in at 7.9 ounces. So this actually will be lighter than the Leatherman Wave. It is significantly, yeah, it's a pretty light tool actually, which is impressive. I did not realize this tool was that lightweight. I think Decoyu makes a version of this, 222 grams, and with this one it is 274 grams. You're losing a lot of weight by changing to this tool, and it does have the nice blue and red scale. So I do feel a little bit more favorable to it, but again, you're going to have to be able to put up with those things that you lose. As a nice sheath, it has the bits, and then you can get that adapter. All right, now let's look at this one. It has the saw, it has the serrated blade, it has the diamond file. See, I think that's the big advantage. It just still has a lot of big advantages. And then on the inside, you do not have the 1/4 inch bit driver, but you do have this breakaway Phillips drivers right here. And then I'm not really a fan of this rope cutter and the screwdriver. On the other side, you have a set of scissors. Then you have a very beefy flat screwdriver, which is very nice, and then the can opener. Overall, I still think I would pick this older tool set, and this has spring-loaded pliers as well. These cutters are probably a little tougher since they're not replaceable. These are replaceable, which is nice, but then they break as well. So I'll leave this up to you. Let me know what you guys think.